Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to today's press conference. The Bulldogs are coming off a 35-24 victory over VMI in the Military Classic of the South. They will head to face nationally ranked ETSU this Saturday at 4:30 in Johnson City, Tennessee. Here to talk about the Bulldogs, head coach Brent Davis.
Thank you, John. Appreciate you guys being here. Good afternoon. First, I want to start out with number one thing, as I thought we did this year, was we achieved one of our goals so far, and that was to get back the Shaco in Charleston, which was a goal that we had set out at the beginning of the year for us as a team. So number one, that was achieved. We've got a few of our goals still left on the agenda, but it's nice that we can move on. Things that we did well on Saturday is I thought we defended the ball well in the air, especially. That's kind of been something difficult for us over the last few weeks. We did a great job with that. Created turnovers. We had 3 turnovers, 2 interceptions, 1 fumble. A lot of those in the red zone or close enough to the red zone. Very, very important plays for us. And put pressure on the quarterback. And we put pressure on the quarterback with just a 4-man rush, which was nice because we still had to defend, and they make you defend. And they stretch the whole field. So I thought that was important for us. Offensively, we had a few explosive plays, some game-changing plays. Raleigh Webb starts the day off with a huge play. Jalen makes a great throw to him. Jalen also has another run on a 3rd down play that gets us all the way down into the red zone. Huge explosive play. And then I thought we ran the ball effectively, efficiently, and then we had 2 really good 4th down conversions in the last drive, and then we also were able to kill about 10 minutes on that same drive. So things that we needed to do to be a very good team, a nationally ranked team, and we did. Now what we need to improve on, a couple of things that we looked at on film, as our special teams play is not really good right now, is we gave up a big kickoff return, and that was a kickoff return that led them back in the game. And unfortunately, those are things that we've got to, number one, make tackles on. Number 2 is fit our lanes a little bit better. We've got to run down a little bit better. Those are decent enough kicks that we've got to be able to get those guys pinned down there a little bit. In the kickoff return game, we had a couple of penalties that set us back on the offensive side. We didn't field the squib kicks very well. So those are things that we've got to work on in special teams and just to improve on that little aspect of our game. Overall, though, we had outstanding effort. I thought we had many guys on this list: Marquise Blunt, Dominic Poole, Wilson Hendricks. Wilson defends some really good fade balls out there that could be very challenging against those guys. Willie Eubanks, our whole offensive line, played extremely well. And then I thought we had good fullback and quarterback play, which is important to our offense and is key for our offense. I want to hand it to VMI. VMI battled every step of the way. They stayed in the football game as much as we tried to put the game away. We couldn't at times. We had our opportunity at the end of the game to seal it off, probably at least one more drive before they stepped up on defense and made us punt back to them. And then I thought we did a good job of getting the turnover there. So all in all, it was a great day. It was a great atmosphere. It was probably one of the best VMI Citadel games that I have been a part of overall, just back and forth, both sides, both teams, the environment. It was very, very enjoyable. It was great to get the win, and it was great to get the win at home. Moving on to this week, as I said, it's a top 25 ETSU team. They're good. They're good at running the ball. They're going to take their shots down the field on you. They've got probably one of the best running backs in the league in number 1. They've got another guy, number 5. I think that's pretty darn good as well. 2 really good tight ends. And then defensively, their 2 inside linebackers are probably the best 2 in the conference, and that's probably standing next to our 2 guys as well. So really good players. We've got to be on our game. We've got to go up to Johnson City and play at 4:30 up there to give ourselves a chance. We're going to have to prep extremely hard this week. Questions? Well, Justin, we didn't have any in our first 2 games, and that was a big disappointment. And that's going to be a bit of a struggle or a point of contention if we don't do that. We put an emphasis on our players. We put an emphasis on Coach Grantham and the defense. And sure enough, there you go. You get 4 right there, which is huge. On the other end of things, you don't turn the ball over. And I think even Coach Walkenheim said this, is you turn it over 3 times and you don't get any turnovers. It's tough to win those games. So we've got to continue to do what we do on offense and also get some takeaways on defense. Number one, I think we're taking chances. We're taking a little bit more shots down the field. And we were dinking and dunking a little bit more against CSU. We were eating some clock and chewing some clock as best we could against Coastal Carolina. And then the last 2 weeks, we decided to take a couple of chances, take a couple of shots, especially early on, and see if we can't get some, stretch the field that way. Number one is you get an opportunity to make a big play, but number two, you get them backed off of you a little bit. Well, right now you're 1-0 in the league, and all your goals are still in front of you, which is nice. And you still have the opportunity to be able to win the conference championship and go undefeated. So that's going to be your goal, and that's got to be your goal. So we'll take it one day at a time from here on out. But as of right now, we're still in the fight.
Well, off your opening statement, what we all need to do this week to kind of build off the momentum of these past 2 wins that are going to.
The number one thing that we're going to have to do is prepare. I thought we prepared as good as anybody the last 2 weeks. We had a really good bye week, as I stood here and told you that last week. We were a physical football team. We did exactly what we wanted to do at VMI. We're going to have to equally match that because this is a physical ETSU team. We're going to have to stop the run against these guys. They're going to try to find ways to leverage you. They're going to try to find ways to get you in a bind and a run-pass bind. So we're going to have to continue to prepare like we did against VMI as best we possibly can.
You probably touched on this on Saturday, but what can you say about Logan Billings? Obviously, what he endured last year for his character and kind of makeup. What can you say about the day he had?
Yeah, I was extremely happy for Logan. I was happy for his family, and he's been through a lot. Not even just it's been over a year right now. Is going back to his grandmother and his grandfather passing away within weeks of one another, and then battling back through the spring last year. Wasn't able to play last spring either. Comes back and unfortunately breaks his arm about a week out, and he was the starter at that point going into the Coastal Carolina game. So he had to kind of prolong that a little bit. But I'll say this about Logan is he always stayed positive. He always stayed upbeat about it. And he handled the injury about as good as anybody can handle that situation. Didn't get down about it, didn't go off into a corner and sulk. He stayed with his teammates, and he knew that he was going to get back as soon as he possibly could. And when it happened, he said it right for the VMI game. And he actually came back a little bit at the end of our bye week, which was nice. It was nice. As you saw, when you've got 3 fullbacks that you can use in there. We used 2 on Saturday. Both he and Amike had really nice days, and they both, if you can keep those guys fresh, it starts to lean on the defense. Yeah, I believe he had a 40-yarder, which is nice. You got a fullback in there that can break one for 40, and certainly Amike can break one as well. So you got 2 guys in there that can take it, and then if need be, we got Storch that can pound out some yards in there as well. I went back and I watched the film on Saturday. I thought we didn't have any coverage mistakes in there. We had one that was a little bit confusing. We were very fortunate enough to get a pass rush off, and the pass was defended at the line of scrimmage essentially. But really, our guys knew the routes. They knew the combination of routes. I think they studied a lot of film on them. They stuck to their man. They didn't get caught with their eyes in the backfield. And hopefully it's a sign that we're maturing as a defense and as a defensive secondary. They can do it all. They're powerful. They've got quick strike ability. They've got explosive backs. I've always thought that they did a great job on defense. They're gonna play really, really stout up front.
They restarted their program a few years ago. They played at a high school stadium before their stadium got built. Did you sort of see them coming?
Yeah, absolutely. They've got and I think he's done Coach Torbush did a great job there of starting it, getting it going. It's a well-known guy. It's a well-known Tennessee guy. And, when he stepped aside, they didn't really miss a beat. They didn't turn over a lot of staff over. A lot of those guys were still there for the last 6 or 7 years that started the program. They don't take a whole lot of transfers. They've got a lot of really good homegrown talent there. They take their handful of transfers when they need them at certain spots. But other than that, I think they do a good job of just finding the guys, recruiting them, developing them, and then just taking whatever else that they need. So not a big surprise to me. They built a nice stadium, nice facility, and they're in a little bit of an area where you can recruit quite a few guys. It is, and we typically do, and that was a completely new wrinkle. That was something that we had never shown before, but it kept on coming back to us as an offensive staff. We just kept on working it back in. We looked at it the first week, didn't put it in. We just kind of worked on our base offense and our base install our first week, and then we put a lot of time into it. We liked what it gave us. The number one thing that I thought we were going to use it for was just goal line, short yardage. Whenever we got into a jam a little bit, we kind of just, get them on their heels a little bit. And then we started just to use it more and more. It ended up being quite effective for us.
Jalen Adams obviously heading back home. You may get a better idea later in the week. Do you think you'll have to keep his emotions in check at all, or do you think he has a pretty good head on his shoulders?
He does. He's a pretty level-headed guy, nothing really up or down with him. There has been a lot of maturity over the last, I would say, 7 or 8 games going back to last year where we were able to squeak out a couple against Wofford and Furman. He's kind of grown from there. He's learned to handle the situations, and he's learned our offense, number one. So I think that him heading back there is just going to be more enjoyable for him than it is pressure for him.
Talk about recruiting a little bit. You recruited him as a quarterback. What did you like about him?
He was fast. He came to camp and ran a 4.5 for us, and we didn't have many guys on the roster that were playing corner for us that were 4.5. At that point, we had graduated Dean, we had graduated Tyus, Ben Roberts, so we'd graduated some pretty good ones, and we were getting a little bit nervous about our speed in the secondary. And what ended up happening over there is when we transitioned from coordinators, Tony was looking for just a little bit of a taller guy at the corner spot and thought that maybe Jalen would be more useful or helpful to us, and that's why we ended up moving him over in the spring. Yeah, we did. Yeah, he played, I believe, his first 2 seasons on the roster as a corner.
Did you play DB in high school?
No, he was mostly a quarterback in high school. Yeah, it was just a complete projection on our end. How'd that work out, right? It'll be different. Preparation, no. We'll still be able to get everything that we want to get done. We even do all of our Friday stuff here. Anyway, so I don't think that that's going to change too much for us. It'll just be a little bit different. We've even on our away game, we stayed in our home hotel. So, but it's certainly not bad to get out of town. We've done well on the road. Our kids like to sleep and nap on the way up there, so we get caught up on a few things as well.
Touchdown pass, North Greenville, the second play. Touchdown pass, first play versus VMI. What's the next kick return?
I would love a kick return at this point. The one this week was completely not planned. The one against North Greenville, we had just a favorable opportunity. It was 2nd and 1, 2nd and 2. This one was just completely a gut feeling. I said, look here, this is what I'm thinking. And I had originally called a different pass play. The guy that was coming out to do the media timeout was late getting out there, so it allowed me more time to think about it. So I thought about it. I said, let's go with this one right here instead, and it ended up being the better play, obviously, for us. So I'm glad it worked out, to be honest with you. It got them back on their heels a little bit, which is nice. I know how that feels, the first play from scrimmage going for a touchdown. All right, guys, I appreciate it. I know we're getting closer to basketball season, but I'm excited here. He's a really, really good friend of mine. He's a great guy. He's our head basketball coach here. He's going to tell you a little bit about his season. I'm excited once my season ends to kind of sit back and watch his. I didn't get a chance to watch his season too much last year, so I'm looking forward to it. I know my dad's going to come up from Seabrook, and he's going to watch it. He's a big basketball guy himself. So here to talk about his team and the start of basketball season, Coach Duggar Balcom.
Hey guys, thanks Brent, and congratulations. Saturday was certainly a great day for us when you have recruits in and have that kind of atmosphere, and the football team play like they did. It certainly made Saturday a special day for us. So Saturday actually, ironically, was our first day of practice. We could start last Tuesday, I think, September 28th, but due to some conflicts in the arena and other sports and stuff, we ended up picking Saturday morning as our start date, and had a really good practice, and I thought we followed it up yesterday morning with a really good practice. So we're in day 3 today. So new team, but a lot of the same returning guys, so that's good. If you can ever get old at a military school, that gives you your best chance. So we feel good about the group we have. couple new additions. Some freshmen have come in and really played well, and they'll compete for some starting spots. So that's always good as a coach when you you recruit kids off Zoom. You don't know if they're going to be the same player that you see on tape. But our kids came in here, and they were all at least as tall as we thought they were, and actually better players than possibly we thought they were. So all three have a chance to play, and two will probably play a great deal.
Coach Hayden Brown is back for his 12th year at Citadel, and we know what he's about. But what do you hope he can improve?
Yeah.
What is he working on?
Yeah. Well, you know, he was the only kid in the league that averaged a double-double, and 18 and 11, one of the best rebounders actually in the country. Without Isaiah Miller, who also played 13 years, you know, he was player of the year like the last 5. Hayden would have had a good chance to win that award. But our deal with Hayden is just keep doing what you're doing. You don't have to do any more. Just lead us, which he does kind of instinctively and naturally. And he's always engaged, and he always plays hard. But, you know, the thing this year is he's very, very important to us. Just play with passion, but play smartly. We got to have you on the court. We can't pick up, you know, dumb fouls or cheap fouls or fouls away from the basket, which I think has gotten better with during his career. We're working with him on his three-point shot. He made less than 30 last year from 3, and if he can add that to his game, then he'll be very, very hard to guard. But he's just he's more mature than any kid out there, and he was that way kind of coming in as a freshman. He's a very mature guy, so you can imagine after these years. And the greatest thing is he still has one more year after this eligibility-wise, so he can come back for his 14th or 15th year. As long as I'm the coach, he can keep coming back. That's a good weapon to have.
We saw Stephen Clark made big strides last year. Has that continued, and what do you hope for from him?
Yeah, Steve's been awesome. He hugged me after we lost to Greensboro. We played Greensboro really tough in the tournament, and he came up to me after the game and hugged me and said, "Coach, I'll put on 20 pounds this off season." And he actually lied. He's only put on 17, but he's bigger and stronger. But his confidence that he took on in the tournament in the last 3 games of the regular season have just multiplied. I mean, he has been the best player overall from the start of the summer until now. He plays like he belongs. He's our best defender, great rebounder, and has even developed a three-point shot. So I kind of told him, as long as you do the other things and enhance those skills, we'll let you shoot the 3 some, but that's going to be on your time. Now the coaches are working with him. His position coach works with him, but he's been our most complete player, and that's he has several years left, but he doesn't play like a freshman or a sophomore anymore. He feels like he belongs, and actually is one of the leaders on the court.
You're really ramping up with the non-conference slate this year. If Duke, they can't happen in Presbyterian. What's that going to be like? What kind of challenge will it be for your team, specifically this being Coach K's final season? What's that going to be like?
Yeah, we actually had Duke on the schedule last year, and then COVID didn't allow us to play any of our money games, and they were kind enough to let us, reschedule that, and having no idea it was going to be his last year, and then it ends up being his last year, and I've never been in Cameron other than for a clinic, so I know it'll be exciting for our guys. We certainly won't have to get them up for that game, and then we play one of his mentees in Jason Cape. When we play Pitt, we open up there on the 9th of November, so I have our hands full. 2 ACC schools, so the guys like those kind of games, so those will be fun. And then we have a pretty stout non-conference schedule too that we hope will prepare us for the SoCon. SoCon, I think, was 9th RPI last year, 10th net. It just keeps getting better. You think players graduate, it would slow down a little bit, but every year some player emerges and the league just keeps getting better. So I thought when we got Mike Young out of the league, that would help. Maybe now getting Wes Miller out of the league will help. We got Steve Forbes out of the league, but the league hadn't taken a step back. So it's kind of crazy. We have a few new coaches, and but it's going to be, you better be ready, in December, late December, because there's too many good coaches, too many good players in SoCon.
With all these guys returning to the roster, expectations, I'm sure, from everybody in the SoCon will be higher on you guys this year. Is this group kind of going with a chip on their shoulder? Do you still feel like they have something to prove to the rest of the SoCon and the rest of the college basketball world?
I think so. You know, last year they thought we lost a couple games we probably shouldn't have lost, and we didn't get to play some people we thought we should have gotten to play just because of, you know, the COVID and the situation it was. But we finished strong. We played well in the tournament. We beat Western, played Greensboro as close as anybody played them in the tournament. And so I think they have some realistic expectations, but kind of a quiet confidence about them. But they know we're not good enough to just show up. I mean, it takes a lot of preparation and a lot of work in the weight room and believing in each other and accountability between each other. You know, we're never going to be a team that can just show up and think, oh, we were pretty good last year, you know, let's move forward. We don't have those our guys aren't built that way. So they've worked really hard. They had a great off season this summer, and they're going hard at it now. We had a good fall. We were able to do some individuals and stuff. They worked hard in the weight room, and now's practice. So we got 30 of them. We're into in college basketball right now. You get 42 days to have 30 practices. So today will be day 3, and you hope it's a little bit better than day 1 and day 2. And I think the guys are mature. That's one good thing about being young. About being old is your younger guys come along with your older guys, and we have more mentors than we've had recently. So with Hayden and Steven and Tyler Moff being back, those guys have really been good leaders for us on the court and off.
Going off what you'll have returning, obviously 2 players, 2 starters from last year no longer in the program. Who are some guys that you're asking to kind of step up more in their absence?
Yeah, we'll need some freshmen actually to step up, because those are the positions that we lost. Jason Grosh, a kid from California, really good shooter. He's played really well in the preseason since he's been here in June. And then JP Jackson Price, another freshman who's kind of unique. He's a 6'7", 6'8" guy who can step out on perimeter and shoot it, but will also bang. We need Rudy Fitzgibbons to continue to play well on the perimeter. He's a backup point guard, but we can play him along with Tyler some. So those guys definitely have to, you know, just come along and help us a little bit. Brady Spence is back to health, and we're thrilled to death about that, because he's been dragging his leg around pretty much the last 2 years. So he's rehabbed his surgery well, and we think he'll give us a spark. And then after that, it's kind of by committee. You know, next man up. Brent Davis had a really good freshman campaign, and he's back bigger and stronger and more confident. So he's certainly a guy that'll play on the perimeter in the absence of those 2 guys.
I haven't seen anything on the roster in years past. Obviously, you guys brought in a grad transfer or 2. Have y'all done that this year?
We have actually. Well, Tyler Moff was a grad transfer, and he came back. But recently we've added David Maynard, who is a 6'4" guard from Colgate. He's a Colgate grad, played in the NCAA tournament, kid originally from Utah. So he brings some experience and some maturity, and it's hard for a guy to walk in a program. He didn't get a summer with us, so he came right as school started. And but I've never coached a kid that has fit in as well on such a short arrival. The guys just accepted him from day one, and he's a mature kid and older kid and loves Charleston, and he is really bought into everything we're about and understands what our guys go through in the core. And it was a real good find by my staff to find him, and I think he's going to be a great fit for us.
A lot of programs are expecting to fill their venues to full capacity for the first time in a while. I know you kind of dealt with some venues half full, whatever. What's that going to be like, do you think, especially at McAllister Fieldhouse to have its first, you know, full crowd in a while, and just going on the road and playing in these electric venues?
Yeah, it'll be really neat. You know, I hope Pitt will have a great crowd. I've played up there before with different programs, and they have the zoo, you know, for their student section. So that would be neat if that is full. I'd a lot rather play in a full house than empty house. We did that enough last year, and you know, no fans at a lot of our home games, and it's just something you get used to actually. But it certainly will. I mean, part of college basketball is the venues you play in. Cameron should be rocking for sure, I would think. But if we can get some core out to McAllister, and that's up to us winning some, I think it'll be a lot more like, you know, people are used to. I know Saturday with the football, having over 12,000 there, it was much more like we all remember it. So that there was a lot of energy in that place, and I hope we can help with some of that once basketball season starts.
I know it's early, but you talked about some of the turnover in the SoCon. Just from the outside looking in, is the SoCon wide open right now, would you say?
I would think so, as much as any year. Chattanooga's done a really good job of going out and getting transfers and retaining some guys that we thought may be moving on, have chose to come back. They added a center from Kansas, and I think a lot of people are projecting them to be probably the most experienced and with size and dominance probably. But then after them, I think it could really be anybody. We've usually had kind of a top, a middle, and a bottom section, but I think now there's really no sections. You know, it's who's playing well, and I think last year us and VMI both, teams that have traditionally been in probably the bottom third, upset a lot of the teams that are in the top. So that's good. I mean, that's good when that can happen. There's, unfortunately for a coach, there's no easy games. Like, you can't pinpoint a game, and we've never been good enough to be able to do that anyway, but it's just gotten harder and harder. But I do think it is a little more, the wealth's evenly distributed, but there's still a lot of wealth out there. Okay, guys, thanks a bunch. Thanks for being here.